And one of the things I thought we would look at today, which we had started last week, was talking about motivation, about intention. So last week was our Valentine's Day practice where uh, we practiced orbital breathing, beginning with orbital breathing, touching into the heart and the front and the back, and really sort of cultivating a a circular pattern of compassion. Um, and that is what we call a shamatha practice. And so this is something we've been looking at for quite a while, is shamatha, this term that means calm abiding in Sanskrit. And it's that state of it's that state of one-pointedness of mind that leads to a settling of the mind and a natural arising of a peaceful, sort of tranquil experience of the moment. And it happens automatically that way. We don't have to try to do this. And meditation practices that have you focus on something, that have you sort of training attention, whether it's on breath, mindfulness of feelings, or it's the four elements, which we've done before, or a compassion meditation, all of these things are considered shamatha practices because they are training the mind, they are sustaining the mind on a particular um, quality, on a particular image of some kind, and so on. So this is all very much in keeping. And part of what we talked about last week was when your mind wanders, when you're sitting, or when you're kind of struggling with your practice, sometimes it is really helpful to just bring the mind back, not just to your breathing, not just to the object of your attention, but to your deep motivation to practice. What is the deepest motivation behind your practice that you possibly have? Because I don't know about you, but my experience has been when I'm really struggling with practice, it's hard to get to that motivation. I almost don't want to. I haven't had this for a long time, but um, the motivation for me is just self-evident. It's the second I sit, it doesn't even go away really with the work that I do. But it really is that which helps to reorient the rationale. And if you're having an experience where maybe you're feeling a little depression or you're kind of just feeling out of sorts in some way, or maybe you're just enjoying an awful lot of hedonic pleasure, watching lots and lots of movies, having fun with it, eating lots of popcorn and junk food, and drinking wine and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes that can also feel, I don't kind of feel so much like attuning to my deeper motivation right now. And I know some of you are therapists, and that deep motivation is already there when you're doing your work, or at least you're trying to sort of come back to it. And I know that's almost like a contemplative practice, to listen and be responsive in a compassionate, loving way. That is contemplative practice, really, responding to suffering that way. So I get that. I get it. And I think that motivation doesn't have to be for anyone else. It certainly can be. But it can be that I am encountering whatever I'm encountering within myself that is of the nature of discontentedness, dissatisfaction, or suffering. Here is where my deeper motivation needs to encounter myself, right? I need to encounter myself with that here and now. So it's not just going for all sentient beings everywhere, right off the bat, but really my deepest motivation for my practice, for why I am sitting, abiding in the heart, not a thought, not a cognition, but a real spirit behind your awakening. This is why this term, bodhicitta, there's this term, bodhi, it's a Sanskrit compound word, bodhicitta, mind of awakening is what it means. And it is rooted deeply in compassion. It is that spontaneous resolve, this sort of spontaneous quality to awaken through compassionate response to suffering. It's that, this is why it used to be translated as spirit of awakening. Spirit, because it's a spirit, it's an outlook, it's a way of being in the world more so than just a thinking mind. But literally, it means mind, citta, of awakening, which is bodhicitta, mind of awakening, or an awakened mind that is spontaneous. It has a resolve to it to respond to suffering with a heart that is stable and open and responsive to suffering and the wish to alleviate that suffering.